Hey, welcome back. So I'm getting ready tonight because tomorrow morning I'm gonna meet up with Dustin and he's gonna teach me everything he knows about blue water. And that's a lot more than I know. So tonight I'm gonna get everything together and I'm gonna start with swapping out this band so I can get more power in case I run into a big fish out there. So I order all my bands from Uncle Brian. That's Uncle Learn You How. I think he's got some of the most knowledge and experience in the business. So I get reactive rubber from him. I use a 16 mil band. So I'm just gonna take this one off. Even though it's still in good shape, I use my old bands as a backup. So in case I ever blow a band or my partner needs one or something breaks, I always have a backup with me in the truck. So it's a sheep's head knot. You can just break the knot with the leverage of the Dyneema. And that just slides out of there. Now take note when you do this, which bands are going underneath. So I'm going to go underneath all these bands when I put the new one back on and over the top of the main line. And this just comes right out. Hear those ceramic bearings spinning? That's why I use ceramic. So we'll just thread these to the front. We'll put this on exactly the way it came off. Underneath these. And then a sheep's head knot. So it goes through the loop, over the top of the loop, and back through. And the knot locks into place, and that will never slip. Now we got new power. It's gonna be balanced perfectly for that shaft. All right, it's 4 a.m. I got out the door on time. Driving down to go meet Dustin. All right, there's no Naupaka where we're going. So I'm gonna grab a couple now. Thinking ahead. All right, the sun is up. I'm almost there. You're getting pretty stoked. Okay, that's the hard part. Got the cold wetsuit on. Let's go get in the water. And then right away I run into a fish I haven't seen in a long time, and that's a flatfish, a flounder. And they are not great eating here in Hawaii. They're very bony, so I just let those guys go, but they're always super cool to see. And then after a little bit of a swim out, I take my first drop of the day here, and we see some pretty fat moo kicking around, so I went down to investigate them, and I'm looking around, and I don't see anybody. They are long gone, but I'm just gonna get the lungs warmed up for the day, get my head in the right mindset, and just enjoy the view. I'm just gonna settle into the bottom here and take a look around and not worry about shooting anything right now. Just gonna head back up and keep on moving, and because we're gonna go out deeper. So pretty soon after that, start seeing a little bit of action out a little bit further away. So I throw my flasher and dive down and grab it and see if anything comes in on it. And I'm looking around, I don't really see much. That spot out in the distance is actually Dustin's flasher. He's way ahead of me because I'm driving in a really heavy chum bag. And I'm just gonna take a poke around while we're going to our meeting spot. And I don't see much, so I'm gonna try to service and go catch up to him. But very soon after that, I was lucky enough to have a school of Kamanus come in on me. So I have to take a drop on him. I duck down and I try to target the biggest one in the school. He comes in, gives me a shot I'm looking for, and I hit him right in the middle of the body. And it was plenty good holding shot. I can put a lot of pressure onto him. I didn't have to go down very deep for him at all. A really lucky start to my day. So I'm gonna go fight him and haul him up before the sharks get him. And I didn't get them on camera, but they are around, so we got to be a little bit careful out here today. And I get him in just fine. He's a little bit bigger than I thought he was, and that's awesome. So I give him the brain and bleed and show him off. Look at that beauty. Love Kamanu, one of my favorite eating fish out there. So a little known fact, I have never shot an Ono before, and I probably have over 100 hours of blue water, and I still have not made it happen. And I finally see my first one up close, and I throw the flasher and wiggle my hand and grunt, and I have no idea what I'm doing. Dustin's not near me. I'm trying to catch up to him. So he starts heading away from me, and he's heading right towards Dustin. So I put the sprint on, And in the meantime, this is what Dustin sees. This is the same Ono that just ran away from me, and I'm watching all this happen from a distance. Dustin lines up on him, and he's got plenty Onos. He knows what he's doing, and he's got the right gun for it. And I watched all this happen. I wish I got it on camera. And he puts a good shot into him, and he takes off, and it's a done deal. And he's just got to tire him out and haul him up, or so we think. But then, out of nowhere, the demons show up from the deep and start circling it and rip it to shreds. And there's a Sharknado that comes in and absolutely tears it to pieces. And they end up getting a little bit tangled up in the line, and Dustin doesn't want to risk getting tangled or getting sucked under, so he has no choice but to cut the line. Unfortunately, loses his prize fish of the day and his shaft. Bummer. But it did make for a pretty exciting moment and a pretty epic shot.
Oh, you had that Ono, bro. You had him.
That was action. That was what I needed. It just sparked back up. Yes,
Sharks got him quick, huh?
Yes, gotta get back now.
But being the experienced guy that he is, he clipped his 3-prong to his buoy ahead of time, and he starts picking off a bunch of opelu because they're excellent eating. He just gut them and fry them whole, and they're unbelievable. And he ended up getting, I don't know, 6 or 8 of them, I think, while we're out there, and had a pretty good time doing it. Oh, yeah. But we're kind of getting over this spot, so we decided to move, and he's going to drag the flasher. I'm going to grab the chum, and we're going to change locations, which ended up being a really good idea because we ended up running into the second Ono of the day. And this is very exciting for me because not really seeing Onos in the water much, seeing them this frequently in one mission is pretty exciting. And I get a lot of practice, I get to learn a lot and make a lot of mistakes, but here I am making more mistakes as he heads out away from me and then leaves me in the dust. See ya. And because we are constantly battling current, we're going to swim back to where we came from, which is pretty exhausting. And we are seeing a lot out here. It's just that a lot of times it happens so fast, I don't even have time to get my camera on in time. But in the meantime, I'm going to chum up this lehi from my last video, Fish of a Lifetime. If you haven't seen that one, you should check it out. And this may be the last time I see a lehi in my life, so I'm going to chum it up and bless this area and film it so I can keep it for my record. And look how beautiful it is. This skin is so pink and so shiny. Look at that thing. And even though Dustin got his Ono tore up by sharks earlier, we haven't been bothered by them too much. They're just kind of around, but they're leaving us alone. They're not really eating the chum all that much, which is awesome. But this guy's cruising around. He was super mellow. He kept his distance, and I just wanted to go swim with him from a distance for a bit because he's so cool looking. I love seeing sharks in the water, at least when they're not bothering us. They're very majestic. They're kind of like jet fighters. Super cool. And just a few minutes later, I take a duck dive down because I see some shadows in the distance, and check that out, more Onos. And to be honest, I really had a good feeling about this when I said, you know what, this is the one. There's 3 of them out here, and I'm going to do things right this time. I'm going to be patient. I can hunt them down, chase them down, flash and grunt, and they turn, and I'm thinking, I got them. But I'm not weighted for the shallows, and I'm not very deep right now, and I keep floating to the surface. My body language spooks them, and they head away from me, and I blow it again. But immediately after that, I get a chance on another Kamanu, but this time I rushed my shot, and I shot right over the top of them. Moving on. And we must be in the sweet spot here or something, because there's fish all over the place. And I start grunting because I see some more shadows. You can see them back there. Some more Onos. What's up? I can't figure out how to get them to come in, but I'm not going to give up on them this time. Dustin's helping me out, telling me when to drop, and he says, go. So I go, and I swim up. I'm thinking I got to get really, really, really close. So this seems close enough. I'm trying to get closer, but that's plenty good enough, or so I think. And I just touch him with the spear, and it doesn't even go through, and he comes right off and breaks my heart. Oh, well. So we're getting pretty over it. I empty the rest of the chum bag out and just see what happens. And I'm gonna go down for one more drop of the day and send it a little bit deeper because I see some movement down. I'm in about the mid 70s here, and I see a fat Kamanu and a big old uku. And I'm thinking if I'm patient enough and I wiggle that flasher and I don't kick, I could probably get him to come in, and he comes right at me. I'm going, oh yeah, here we go. But he never really comes in quite close enough, so I just took a hilarious shot out of frustration, knowing that I wasn't going to hit him, and head on in. And on the way back, I find a hole I wanted to peek in, but I'm not going to go in there. I'm just going to back out and call it a day. Whew, it is hot and windy over here, but man, that was fun. Didn't really work out the way I hoped it would, but I'm still pretty stoked. Got to put a shaft in my first Ono, got to see a lot out there. I learned a lot, had a great time with Dustin. He's super cool, and I also got to land one of my favorite fish, and that's Kamanu. That'll last us a few days, so pretty stoked about that. And that's about all I need out here. So on this long drive back, I got a lot of reflection time, and it got me really thinking that it's pretty cool that we can kind of just write our own story, and we can just do whatever we want to and live life how we want to. We've just been told otherwise. So thank all you guys too for following me on my journey. Really appreciate you. What you got, Kamanu snacks? It's one of her favorite things in the world. Get it, Nepo? She will eat most of that. More than most people. You guys watched my taco episode in the past. You saw taco broth. Now we're gonna take sushi rice, and we're gonna use taco broth instead of water, and it's gonna be the most amazing rice you ever had in your life. That should do it. All right, we'll cook some rice. Okay, so the rice just finished up. I just stirred it up. We're gonna let that sit, and I'm gonna mince up this Kamanu, and we're gonna make tartare. So you can chop that as coarse or fine as you want to. I think it sticks together better when it's chopped fine. It's up to you. I'm just gonna throw all this in that bowl. All right, so we're gonna start with balsamic vinegar, and we're just gonna cook it into a reduction. We don't need very much of it. We're just gonna kind of cook it off. Put it on very low heat. And since most of this is gonna cook off, we're just gonna add a little bit more than you think we need. And that should be plenty. In the meantime, I'm gonna chop up some pickle. You can also use capers, but we prefer pickles. So right in here. We're gonna add a little bit of olive oil. Just a little bit, right about that. And a touch of sesame oil. We'll mince up a little bit of basil. We're gonna put some lime zest in there. So I wanna use about the whole skin all the way around. And we have this special Hawaiian salt, sea salt, garlic, ginger, and chilies. We add a little sprinkle on top. Now we're gonna mix it. I'm gonna add another sprinkle. Not overdo it, and that should be plenty. And because I love ginger so much, we're gonna use some fresh ginger, and we're gonna cut the skins off of it first. So I'm just gonna grate this into here. We gotta add some shallot in there, raw. that in the bowl too. So now that balsamic reduction's finishing up, and look how beautiful that is. So we're gonna let that sit and cool down while we finish this up. Now I have a bunch of tiny green onion from the garden we're gonna mince up, because it wouldn't be complete without green onion, of course. I'm just gonna mix all this loveliness together. Just a tiny touch of shoyu. All right, so we're just gonna get these plated up. Oh, look at that taco rice. Oh, you should smell that. Now we're gonna pack these to a tapered glass or something similar. And we're only gonna do a little bit, about that much. Pack it down nice. Comes out in a nice puck. And place that right there. All right, now we have this beautiful block of brie that we're gonna shave down in really thin pieces. So shave it thin. And now we'll add a second layer. Now we're just gonna finish up here with some even smaller pieces of brie. These in half. Just garnish the top. Just gonna add a tiny leaf of mint. Now we're just gonna spoon this balsamic reduction over the top. Look how fancy. And the final step, just a touch of black sesame. Voila. All right, yes, earned this one. So Megan's elected to step out of the camera this time, so you're gonna get my reaction on this. Been waiting to try this for so long. Wow. Yes, yes, yes. Do this. Make that. All right, get out of here. See you next time.